we're going to talk about how to create a new Google Calendar that you can use in your classroom. So the first thing you're going to do is open up your Google Calendar. Remember, you can get to it from your apps launcher and choose Calendar from the options. I'm already in it, so I'm just going to go ahead and create. You're going to come down here to My Calendars because these are calendars that you own and have created. And you're going to choose this little drop-down arrow and create a new calendar. And you might want to call it, English 8 if the class that you are creating the calendar for is English 8. And you can name it whatever you'd like. So I'm going to suggest that you do this and add, class assignments to it, important events, due dates, that sort of thing. This organization is Southwest Licking, and the description is a calendar for the due dates. Excuse me. Oh, misspelled that. For the due dates and important events in Mrs. Copen's ELA class. Okay. And then you have some options down here. Obviously, we can set the time zone. That's a good idea. But then you have some options down here. You can share the calendar with others and just make it public so everybody can see it. Or you can share it with specific people. So if you have your students' email addresses, like maybe you've done a Google form and you've collected all of their email addresses, you can do a quick copy and paste. And you can just paste them right in. Then you have to give them the option of whether they can see event details, if they can make changes and share the calendar with other people. I do not recommend that for your students. If they can make changes to events, again, I do not recommend that for students. Or if they can only see that things are free and busy. Again, that doesn't really serve our purposes. So typically see event details, but not actually making any changes is probably the best option. You can also make the calendar public. Check the first box, then you can make the calendar public and allow everyone to see everything. I typically like it so that it's specific to the people that are being shared or that are actually using it. So we put that in there and put their email addresses in. For the purposes of the summer challenge, since you don't know your class lists yet, maybe send your calendar to a couple of colleagues. That way you can practice getting those email addresses in there and creating your calendar. So once I create my calendar, I'm actually going to share this with Mrs. Hartman. I'm going to share with her SWL account, not her LACA. That's very important. I'm going to click over here. I'm going to have her be a student. I'm going to have her just see all the event details, and then I'm going to create the calendar. And so here on the side, after I've created it, it's going to show up in the list of my calendars. So right now it's green. You can see English 8. I can change the drop-down arrow. I can change the color. So if I actually want it to be red, that's okay too. And then you can open up all of your other events and things like that. Then obviously when you go to make an event, you can hit create. And we can do a demo event. The date is fine, but you can always change the date, change the time. You can have a repeating date. So if you have a homework assignment that you know is due every Friday, you can have it repeat. And you can kind of set those repeating parameters. If you want it to repeat every week, every 1 week, every 2 weeks, every Thursday, every Friday, or if your homework's due on a Monday, you can have it due every Monday, and you can have it end on a certain date or after 6 occurrences or 10 occurrences. It just depends on you and your teaching style and what you want to do. So that's how we create an event. You can obviously invite students to it, but you don't need to do that if it's already on the calendar. So if they have the calendar on their accounts, then they're not going to have to be invited to it. And that is all to create a Google Calendar.